How is it possible that no matter how much I powder my face, I always look so shiny on camera? I'm just the sweatiest girl on earth. I made some room updates in case you haven't noticed this shelf situation over here and the fact that my green locker is now here. I'll show you some of the changes I made later. But more importantly, we are whipping the sewing machine back out and sewing again. I'm simultaneously excited and scared. So if you didn't know, the way I kind of started my content journey was with thrift flips on TikTok. It wasn't crocheting and knitting. I've gotten more into crocheting and knitting like as a content vertical because it's easier to do like on the go, and like it's a more like pattern selling, I think, is easier in that space versus with sewing. But if you watched my 30 things before I turned 30 podcast episode, I talked about how one of the things I really want to do is sew again, because I think the things that I make from sewing are actually more my style. I've mentioned this a million times, but I don't think like knit and crochet textiles are necessarily like super up my alley as an end product. And I have these 3 gorgeous floral dresses that I picked up while thrifting just over the years, mostly in Europe. And I think this is a good place to start because I don't think these are going to be very involved thrift flips. They're mostly going to be like basic alterations. And you're going to have to bear with me a bit. I have never made like a thrift flipping YouTube video, and I don't know that there's a ton of B-roll to show because it's not like I'm going to be taking my sewing machine out in public and sewing in a cafe. Like the B-roll would just be me sitting at my desk. So maybe I won't even have like the music portions and I'm literally just going to talk. I don't know. We're going to figure it out as we go. But I need to start off by trying these on for you so we can see what we're working with. Okay, kindly ignore how insanely wrinkled this is. They're all going to be very wrinkled actually because they've just been in a ball in my suitcase. And I think I'm just going to show you this one and then upcycle it and then show you the next one. Like that makes more sense, right? But I picked this one up because I'm obsessed with the print. I mean, that's why I picked all of these. Like they're just like beautiful florals. And I find with a lot of floral dresses that are on the market now, I often don't like, I don't know, there's something about a vintage floral that just hits different. Originally, I wanted to do something a little bit more involved with this one, but I realized just now that there's an invisible zipper that goes like all the way up to the neck. So I don't really want to do like a spaghetti strap or something where I'm going to have to like drop the back lower because then I'm going to have to shorten the zipper. And I forgot to mention my technical sewing skills are like, not good. So we're not trying to like do anything too crazy here. But I'm thinking like, because I have the zipper, I can really make the dress like incredibly form-fitting, like all the way over the hips, which would be T. And this top part, like what if I just drop it off one shoulder? That's kind of cute. No, I feel like it also is honestly giving like more dressy when you change the silhouette. And so it's not going to be like that simple. I think I will have to, why can I not speak? Seam rip along this seam and then take in this bottom portion along like these front seams, the sides, and the back. This is one mistake I see people make a lot. They just try and take something in like on the sides, which would work if you were literally shaped like a fridge, but because you want it to like kind of go over the curves of your body, you want to like take it in at different points, right? And there are already like 6 existing seams. So I'm going to start off by doing that. And then like, I might have to take in the top a little bit, but like then reattach this panel and that should be it. I don't know, guys. I'm really out of my depth. I haven't sewn in like 5 or 6 years. I'm gonna start off by steaming this so it looks a little less unsightly. Oh wow, that's already so much better. Okay, welcome to our kitchen. This is not normally where I vlog, but I do think our dining room table is gonna be my like sewing station. So first things first, we have to seam rip this seam. And do I know where my seam ripper is from 5 years ago? No, obviously not. So, sorry, I'm looking and I'm like realizing that there's a lining and there's the outer layer. Whatever, I'm gonna have to do this with scissors. Fuck my life. Well, that legitimately took me like an hour, just because the outside, I don't know what fabric this is. Some sort of silk. It was like serged together, which makes sense. And then it was like sewed to the lining. So I was just taking apart so many layers of fabric. But you can see I have now split the top and the bottom. I didn't split the lining. I don't know that I'm gonna bother trying to sew the lining to my I'm gonna try just sewing the outside layer to fit me, and then I'll see if the lining is like bunching and like you can tell if the lining's too big, because if not, some extra like fabric on the inside I kind of don't care about. Now, normally at this point you would try the dress on inside out and then just pin like the right sides together so you could sew it like that. But because I didn't seam rip the lining, I'm just gonna try and like basically pin it from the inside along these seams, if that makes sense. And I'm gonna try and take all this extra width and more or less evenly distribute it across my 6 different seams, mostly around the waist, but maybe a little bit around my hips too, because obviously the dress overall is just a bit big for me. This is gonna be finicky, but we'll get there. Okay, I will be the first to admit this is looking literally insane. In an ideal world, sorry, I just realized that maybe I could have put this on my dress form on Bartholomew, because I was about to say in an ideal world, someone would be putting in these pins for me. And I guess I could put it on Bartholomew, but also Bartholomew famously doesn't have the same dimensions as me, especially in the hip area, because my hips are like wider than the widest adjustment that Bartholomew will go, whatever. This is why my thriftlets take a long time. I think I just kind of guesstimate when I'm pinning, and then I sew, and then I try it on, and then I adjust from there. And that's basically what we're gonna do. Like, I more or less know how much width I need to take away from each of these 6 seams. And then from there, it's just kind of like going from here, sewing, and then sewing back in a little bit so that it goes in a little more towards the ankles. This is really, it's a fuck around and find out kind of fuck around and find out kind of process, okay? So I'm gonna go work on bringing in this skirt portion and we're gonna see where we land. Oh, and since I'm probably gonna get questions, this is the Husqvarna Viking E10. I got this my senior year of high school, which is what, 2015? So it's 11 years old. Oh my God, that's fucked up to think about. I frankly would just recommend getting a Singer. It's okay, but I think people who have got a Singer as a beginner sewing machine have had a better experience. I'm gonna make it work though. And I bought a bunch of thread on Amazon, like literally 1 or 2 years ago. The last time I thought I was gonna get back into sewing. I feel like this baby yellow right here is like a pretty good color match. And I will say what's nice about this kit is that it also comes with a preloaded bobbin for every color. I mean, I'll probably have to reload it at some point, but I'm not gonna think about that right now. Also, somehow in the move, I ended up losing my spool cap, and I got a bunch on Amazon, but weirdly, this largest one is the only one that fits. Muscle memory is kind of crazy though. I thought I was gonna forget how to thread this, but I like remember actually exactly what to do. So that's making me feel a little bit better. Wow, and I do remember what to do with the bobbin as well. This is all really shocking me. I kind of thought that I would have to watch another video, but I guess I did enough of this in my time that I do remember. Alrighty, here goes nothing. I'm nervous, I'm nervous, I'm nervous. Okay, it's coming back to me, guys. We're fine. All right, you know what, y'all? I'm cooking a little harder than I expected because look how well this fits my waist now. Very annoyingly, and I probably should have seen this coming, because the outer layer is quite sheer, you can see the lining like bunching because there's so much extra fabric. So I am gonna have to take in the lining as well. Boo! But I'm pretty happy with where the waist is. I think I want to take it in more around the hips. Right now it's kind of just going straight down from the hips because I followed like the seams of the original dress. But I do think I want this to like snake in a little bit there is like a slit in the skirt, so I can get away with like making it pretty narrow at the bottom while still allowing myself to, you know, take steps. I'm pretty happy with these two front seams and like the two butt ones. I think I just need to focus on these side ones. I'm gonna like add some pins from the hips down just to see like how much extra fabric I want to take off. I just had a big brain moment and realized that if I am going to be sewing the lining, I can go back to the OG method of just putting the dress on inside out, and then I can like pin along my body. I can also like lift up, sorry, I'm like holding over my boobs because the lining is sheer and you can see my nipples. I could also lift up the lining and yeah, add some pins on the outer layer as well. So time to just pin and sew again. Okay, so you can see on my side seams, I already took in the sides maybe like a 1/2 inch, but I have pins where I want to take it in even more. And then for the front and back seams, I don't know if you can see, but it like goes from here and then it like tapers to the very edge. And the way that mine tapers is like a little bit janky. So I might go in and just like get this curve exactly right. I'm going to try and get the outer layer perfect. And then we're just going to have to take in the lining to match. But like the lining doesn't have to be sized perfectly. I just need to get rid of like all the excess bunching fabric. But honestly, this is going better than I expected. So I shouldn't bitch about it. All right, y'all are gonna laugh when you see this. This is the hip part. I don't know if you can see, but there are 4 rows of stitches because that's the number of times I took the hips in just a little bit more and then just a little bit more, but I'm now happy with how it fits. I stopped showing you every time I tried it on because I would have gone crazy doing that. Now we need to cut off all this excess fabric. And because this is a fabric that'll fray, I don't have a serger, but with the raw edges, I'm gonna have to like zigzag stitch them or something to stop them from like fraying and getting like little threads everywhere. And I already took in the lining. I didn't take it in along all 6 seams. I just took it in on the sides because like it's a stretchy fabric. It doesn't really matter. I just needed to get rid of the excess. And that was a fabric that doesn't fray, so I could kind of just like cut it off and call it a day. But I think once I deal with all these edges and cut off all the excess, we'll be ready to move on to the top. Hopefully. So here's how we're looking. I love how the bottom fits now. It literally fits me like a freaking glove. And normally with like non-stretchy dresses, they're never gonna hug my body quite the way I want to, but this is quite literally sewn to my dimensions. The one thing I will say is that like bringing in the side fabric, it does shorten the dress. So it's now kind of like an ankle length versus a floor length, which I was bummed about at first, but realistically, like this isn't something formal enough for me to wear to like a wedding, for example. Like I would probably just wear this around the city. So having it a little bit shorter so I can wear like a low walkable heel will probably be for the best in the long run. And for the top, so technically if I were to like zip this all the way up right now and then try to connect it, this would look quite bizarre. So I think the one shoulder thing is actually not just a style thing. I think it's like, I kind of have to do that. I think what I'm going to do is like not zip it all the way up in the back. Sorry, I'm having some trouble unzipping. And then I can take like this corner right here and like fold it in and just put a few stitches there so that the neckline is just a little bit more open, because I feel like this is definitely more flattering and just like a more interesting shape. Wow, the sun is really setting. It's not clear to me how exactly I'm going to secure the top. Part of me almost likes having this flap. Like obviously I would need to hem it because it's like a raw edge right now. But I don't know, I kind of like, because I'm just thinking that if I were to like sew it in here, I don't really like being super aware of this kind of like empire waistline. You know, like I want like the so-called waistline to sit closer to my actual waist. So would it be weird, I can't talk, weird if I just sewed along this end and then on this end, I mean, I would want to attach these 2 ends so that it's like actually a sleeve, but like what if it did just hang? I don't know, I have to play around with it a little bit, but we're close. We're so close. kind of, I don't know, things could go really awry on the top part, but in theory, it shouldn't be that bad. Okay, guys, don't yell at me. I feel like I tricked you here. I have decided that I'm actually only gonna do this dress in this video. Okay, because here's what happened. I was like, oh, like there's not gonna be that much footage because there's no B-roll. It's just like me talking. And then I like edited the footage I have so far and I'm like, why is it kind of long already? Also, the other two dresses are a little bit more simple than this ended up being. Like, I think those two really won't take me too long. So if you guys enjoyed this, I can do like another thrift flip video and thrift flip both of those dresses. I feel like I promised 3 dresses and I'm giving you 1, but I'm trying to like not make my videos such intense, heavy workloads for myself, you know? Also, I have done some crazy things with this dress. First off, I did zigzag stitch the edges, but something you can do with like silk fabrics that fray is you can run the edge through like a flame. I really don't recommend this because I actually did catch my own hair on fire for a little bit, but it was like chill. It only burned a tiny bit and it smelled really weird. It's definitely a fire hazard, but it's something I used to do a lot in high school. Like I just like light a candle and I just like run the edge through and it just kind of like burns and seals any fraying bits. But then like sometimes like a thread will catch on fire and then it'll keep burning and then I have to like blow it out. And I'm really not endorsing this, okay? The other thing is I don't have an iron and I would have used my hair straightener. But then after looking for it forever, I realized that I let my friend Nadia borrow it because she was using like the fabric bonding tape to hem her curtain. So she was using it. I like tried to iron the seams with a curling iron, which worked about as well as you can guess. It was fine, but like I really would like the weight of a actual iron. And then I steamed it one more time. And all that to say, the dress is done and let me try it on for you. I feel like because this whole thing was filmed in a day, it seemed very chill. I should clarify that I worked on this from probably like 4 p.m. to midnight, especially like the last few bits, like the top. It was just so much like trial and error, like sewing it down, trying it on, being like, that doesn't look quite right. The hip seams, I just like kept altering them just like a little bit. And then I like went through and like cleaned everything up and I forgot that like the process, it truly is the opposite of crocheting and knitting for me. I love the result and I don't like the process. Whereas I can't talk. Whereas with crocheting and knitting, I don't care that much about the product, but I like the process, you know? Also guys, look at my cute little jammies. I mentioned these in one of my previous videos. My sister got them for me from Gelato Peak. They're doing some R&D over there. It's like this fabric that's like really soft and plush, but it's like a cooling, breathable version. Like I famously sweat so much at night, but I can wear this at night. It's not like super, super warm like their other PJs, because the reason I don't normally wear their stuff is because it's so soft, it's so cozy, but it's way too warm to sleep in. This, they cooked with this. Okay, I've been edging the actual try-on of this dress for so long. Let me put it on for you. Even though my room is so much bigger now, it's weirdly difficult to get like my entire body in frame, but look how cute this turned out. So basically for the top, I liked this like piece floating, obviously, but the problem is if I like lift my arm up and move, it just like shows the lining underneath. Like I obviously need this to like stay down as I move around. So I kind of ended up stitching it down along like this diagonal so that we still sort of have this diagonal shape. And then you can see with the zipper, I just folded it in and stitched it down so that it doesn't zip all the way up to the back. I sewed like these 2 little corners together on this side so that it's an actual sleeve. And I mean, you could still wear it like completely off the shoulder like this. I don't tend to do that just because I have like wider shoulders. So I kind of like the one shoulder look, but it is an option. It's not perfect. I do kind of regret not taking in the lining along all the seams the way I did for the dress, just because I only took it in on the sides, the lining does have a tendency to like ride up underneath the dress. And then you can kind of like see the creases. So every time I put it on, I like actually like really yank the lining down. And I don't know if it's showing up on camera, but like the seams in the lining no longer line up with the seams on the outer layer. I don't think like anyone would really notice, but obviously I notice and it kind of bothers me. I am just so obsessed though with how it looks in the back. Like it really like hugs everything so perfectly. I did wear it out earlier this week. Actually, let me show you how I accessorized it. I have these really cute red kind of like flip-flop sandal heels, which I feel like just match the color story of the dress so well. I mean, I cannot get my whole body in frame, but I'll insert some photos. I took some really cute photos of me wearing the dress, just like in the West Village. And I didn't have a bag that really matched the outfit perfectly, and I asked Emily to bring me one. And this is like an exact color match for the shoes. I was wearing gold jewelry, so the gold hardware was perfect. And then at the end of the night, Emily was like, I haven't worn that bag in literally years, so just take it. So I got a free bag. And honestly, I will say, I don't feel bad accepting this because it's like way more my style than hers. I know I'm going to reach for this all the time. And it's like a really nice, like I found I really don't carry like tiny bags, but this is like one of those perfect bags where it like gives more of a tiny bag effect when you wear it, but I definitely could still fit like my crochet project in here. Okay, bringing the camera back up a little bit because it was freaking me out how far away it was. But overall, I am so happy with how this turned out. Like it's definitely something I'm actually going to reach for and feel excited to wear. When I did wear it, I got so many compliments, and then I had to have the really awkward, like, where'd you get it conversation where I'm like, oh, I like thrifted this dress in Europe, and then I kind of like altered it. The one thing I'll say is not ideal about the dress is that it's not a stretchy fabric. It's very tight on my hips. So like this is like as wide as I can separate my legs, which is fine. But like if I wanted to like run in the dress for some reason, it would be kind of hard. And when I sit down, I get wrinkles across the hip area really quickly because this is like a pretty wrinkle prone fabric. And obviously when something's like tight around your hips and you sit down, the fabric like scrunches. So that was a little annoying because I like sat at a cafe before I took my photos, and when I stood up to leave, I was like, there's like 4,000 hip wrinkles in my dress. So it's not perfect, okay, but I'm overall happy with it. And it's definitely like reinvigorated me to want to sew more, even though I do really think my technical skills like need some fucking work. It's like, you know, when they say that your like vision or your taste is not on the same level as your skills, that's like very much what's happening with me and my sewing machine. Oh, and before we close things out, I promised that I was going to show you some of the updates I made to my room. I hate it significantly less than I used to. I still kind of hate it, but like we're getting there. Let me show you some of the mini changes and some of the things that I'm also planning to add in the coming month. So here's what you see when you first step in. On the left-hand side, this is the door to my walk-in closet, and that's the door to my bathroom. And I used to have the green locker over here, right? That is now on that side. And then over here, I wanted something with a little bit more height, so I got this utility shelf. I'll insert my inspo photo. This is really not what I want it to look like. It's very like messy and colorful. I want to get more larger elements that have more scale and like darker. I don't want it to be so colorful. And I definitely need some like little lights and ambient lighting and stuff. So I'm shopping for that. People are really upset that I have this row of bags down here, but I just feel like who is looking down there? And it's like nice to have my bigger bags like on display and not crowding out my closet. So I'm kind of fine with it. Okay, and then over here, I have this full-length mirror is for when I'm just like trying stuff on in my closet and I want to look at it real quick. I don't know if I'm going to leave it there, to be honest. And this is very exciting. I just stooped this gorgeous wooden nightstand, as in like I just found it on the street and then I Ubered it home for like 10 bucks. And then I have my lamp. I moved this over here. It has like a smart bulb, so I like to do kind of like the red glow. This pink thing is holding all my pills and supplements. And then I have like my evening skincare, my water, my little lofty alarm clock, the book I'm reading. For my bed, I mean, I don't think anyone will notice, but I actually got a new mattress because I wanted something a little bit more firm. And I got a less thick one. It used to be, I think, an 8-inch, and I got a 6-inch. And it made me love my bed so much more because if you look, I have like a bed skirt because I wanted to hide like the insane amount of stuff under my bed. And I feel like before it was like a bed skirt and then a thick mattress on top, and it was just like looking kind of silly. So I like that my bed's a little bit lower. And then over here we have the green locker, like I mentioned earlier. I love this light as well. Like these two lights together on each side of the bed just give such a nice glow. And the nice thing with the tall shelf is that I got to clear out a lot of the trinkets over here. So this is not as crazy as it used to be. I just have like my play button. This is a piece of like framed art that I didn't even have up in my last apartment. And then a million trays for my jewelry, my candle. You guys know I love the fucking Fabulous from Tom Ford. And Lil Softy from Lore, which has been my recent scent obsession. And then over here is our little jewelry corner. You might remember that this mirror used to be up on that wall, and my mom kept texting me that it was like peeking out from my head and really distracting. So I've moved it over here, and this actually makes a lot more sense because now I'm like functionally using it to look at the jewelry I'm putting on. This is also looking less crazy. I moved a lot of this stuff onto the metal shelf as well. Oh, and this is a necklace that my friend Karen made for me. Look how cool it is. You just use like big beads and these like wavy silver tube beads. But it turns out so cute. I have to style it. Bartholomew is looking a little bit crazy because he's basically wearing like everything I've made this summer. So just kind of ignore that. And then I just have like random stuff over here. I also had like way more trinkets over here that I cleared out. This is like my other full length mirror. This is the one I usually take my photos in. And then over here is my desk. This is the nightstand I used to have on the left side of my bed, but I moved it down here. And it's actually mostly empty. Like I weirdly have too much storage in my room, which is like not a problem I ever thought I would have. And then I just tucked my makeup cart in here and my laundry hamper. So for future plans, I ordered a like pretty large plum kind of wine colored rug to put here, which I'm hoping will help darken things a bit. This is just my first time furnishing like a luxury apartment. And I feel like it's such a like clean, clinical, colorless, characterless base that it's like a lot harder to make the space look lived in. So I'm hoping some darker elements will help. And then I'm gonna need to figure out what to put above my bed. I want some sort of like vintage art. And it's literally like hidden down here, but I have this giant wall shelf from Hay that I have not put up since literally my first apartment. So I'm thinking about painting it like a darker color, maybe a red, just because like I don't think this really goes with my vibe. And then putting it up on this wall, and then I could display more trinkets. It also has like hooks in it so that I could like hang bags and coats when I first walk in, which would be convenient. Oh, and the last thing is like the ceiling light situation. I would love to hang like a big Noguchi style paper lantern, but like getting involved with the electrical wiring sounds very intimidating to me. I have seen those like paper light cover things. So worst comes to worst, maybe I'll do that instead. The only problem though is like, I can put the cover on, but the big light is still like extremely bright and white. Like I'd love to like have ceiling light that has a Philips bulb in it, like a smart bulb. But anyway, that's my room. That's my thrift flip. Send through any interior decor recommendations. And let me know if you like the sewing videos, because if so, I will do some more. And with that, thank you so much for watching, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye, guys.